Hello and welcome to St. Gorbat's Cemetery in County Cork, just outside Mallow. I'm visiting the Republican plot for one of the hunger strikers from the 1923 mass hunger strike during the Irish Civil War. Three men would die during that hunger strike. Andy O'Sullivan was originally from Cavan, but he spent a lot of his life in Mallow, and I believe that's why he was buried here. He died in the Curragh prison camp, but he's buried here, so I'll just go and show you the plot. So he's buried in the Republican plot. I think he's the first here, which is a bit strange, but the others would have been from earlier, or probably from the War of Independence, but didn't die during the conflict itself. So he took part in a mass hunger strike, and following the Anglo-Irish Treaty that had established Irish Free State, obviously the Civil War had ensued because of partition and the oath of allegiance. He had to close in 1923. There was thousands of Republican prisoners in prison all across Ireland, and conditions were very harsh, and detainees were being held indefinitely, so it was a form of internment. And in desperation to get either released from prison or better conditions, there was a mass hunger strike organised. Thousands of prisoners all across Ireland joined in, and Andy O'Sullivan joined in Mountjoy jail. So 3 prisoners died and many more became seriously ill. So he died on the 23rd of November 1923, and his death came during a period when several prisoners had lost their lives, including Denis Barry. This is in St. Finbarr Cemetery in Cork City. There are the graves of 3 other hunger strikers: Joseph Murphy, Denis Barry and Terence MacSwiney. They tell the story of sacrifice during Ireland's fight for independence and the divisions that followed. First, we'll begin with Joseph Murphy. He was born in Cork in 1887. He became an active member of the Irish Republican Army during the War of Independence, and he took part in operations against British forces before being arrested in 1920. Like many Republicans, he refused to recognise British authority and demanded to be treated as a political prisoner. While in prison in Cork jail, Murphy joined a hunger strike alongside other Republican prisoners. This was a protest not just against prison conditions, but against being labelled as criminals rather than soldiers of the Irish Republic. Murphy endured for 76 days on hunger strike and died on October 25, 1920. His death was on the same day as another man buried here, Terence MacSwiney. Next, there is Denis Barry. He was from Cork and served as a member of the IRA during the War of Independence. He also worked within the Republican system as a police officer, enforcing the decisions of Dáil courts and helping to maintain law and order as best they could. After the signing of the Anglo-Irish Treaty, Ireland descended into the Civil War. Barry sided with the anti-treaty IRA, and he was captured by the Free State forces in 1923 and imprisoned without charge. While held in Cork prison, Barry joined a hunger strike by anti-treaty prisoners demanding political status, a release for prisoners, or better living conditions. His protest lasted 35 days. He died on November 20th, 1923. His death came at a bitter time when former comrades were opposing each other, and it highlights how the tactic of hunger strikes continued far beyond the War of Independence. And then finally, we have Terence MacSwiney, probably the most famous hunger striker. Born in Cork in 1879, MacSwiney was a writer, playwright and a leading figure in the Irish nationalist movement. He became Lord Mayor of Cork in 1920 after the murder of Thomas MacCurtain. Soon after, MacSwiney was arrested by British authorities and imprisoned at Brixton Prison in London. Refusing to recognise the court, he began a hunger strike. His protest drew international attention. His writings and his determination became symbols of resistance, not just in Ireland but around the world. After 74 days on hunger strike, Terence MacSwiney died on October 25th, 1920. Michael Fitzgerald was born in Cork in 1881. By the time of the War of Independence, he was already in his late 30s, a lot older than most of the men who were in the Irish Republican Army. Despite this, he became actively involved in the struggle, serving as a volunteer in the Cork Brigade of the IRA. In 1920, during one of the most intense periods of the conflict, Fitzgerald was arrested by the British forces. Like many Republicans, he refused to recognise British authority and would not accept being treated as a criminal. He was imprisoned in Cork jail, where conditions were harsh and tensions were high. In response, Fitzgerald joined a mass hunger strike alongside other Republican prisoners. Their aim was clear: to be recognised as political prisoners and to challenge the legitimacy of British rule. Fitzgerald's hunger strike would become one of the most significant of the period. Day after day, his condition weakened, but he refused to give in. His protest lasted 67 days. On October 17, 1920, Michael Fitzgerald died from the effects of the hunger strike. His death came just days before Terence MacSwiney and Joseph Murphy. Michael Fitzgerald is buried here alongside Liam Lynch, who requested to be buried alongside his friend should his death occur.